The credit card statement revealed everything that had been hidden. Richard, who had enjoyed 35 years of a happy marriage, had become careless. A $3,000 purchase at Cartier, an $800 purchase at the La Perla lingerie store, and a hotel reservation at the Four Seasons on a day he was supposed to be at a medical conference in Cleveland. I am Barbara Thornton, 62 years old, married to Richard for 35 years, mother of 3 children, and grandmother of 5. Until that morning, I thought I had a good marriage. Not perfect. Whose marriage is perfect? But solid, built on decades of shared experiences and mutual respect. The Cartier purchase made me pause. Richard hadn't bought me jewelry in years, saying we were past that stage of romance. The La Perla purchase made me queasy. I wore comfortable cotton underwear from Target. And the Four Seasons. I pulled out the conference program. The medical conference was in Cleveland. The spending at the Four Seasons had been done from downtown Chicago. I sat down at the kitchen table, the table where we helped our children with their homework, hosted dinner parties, had pleasant family conversations, strengthened our family bonds, and made important life decisions. And I felt my world shift off its axis. But instead of confronting him immediately, a voice inside me decided to dig deeper. Richard's home office had always been off limits, as if it held different secrets, and there was undoubtedly something he was hiding from us in that forbidden zone, his private sanctuary where he managed our investments and practiced medicine. But that afternoon, while at the hospital, I couldn't overcome my curiosity. That emotion that brings all kinds of disaster upon a person but also unlocks everything. And I broke that unspoken rule. The computer was password protected, but Richard was predictable. He had been using the same password for 20 years, our anniversary date, and the name of our first dog. I got in within seconds. Ah, that sweet man had even set his password to our anniversary date. And I, unable to resist my curiosity, betrayed him and got into the computer. The emails revealed everything. The woman's name was Ashley Chen. She was 28 years old, and she was Richard's surgical assistant. Unfortunately, I also saw her racy photos, including her inappropriate nightgowns and Brazilian bikinis. It turned out that while I thought I was the cheater, I was the one being cheated on. The emails went back 2 years. For 2 years, messages like, "I can't wait to see you," "Last night was incredible," "You made me feel like a woman," and "When are you going to leave Barbara?" had been sent. The last email, sent that morning, made me physically sick. "Dear Ashley, there are only 3 weeks left until my birthday party. Then we can finally stop hiding. Barbara doesn't suspect a thing. After announcing our divorce at the party, we'll be free. Thanks to the prenup I had her sign, she'll get almost nothing. She can have the house, but not my practice or my investments. You'll love the penthouse I picked out for us. Love, R. The party." Richard's 60th birthday party, which I'd been planning for 6 months. 300 guests, a $50,000 budget, the country club's grand ballroom. He planned to humiliate me in front of everyone we knew. I sat down in his chair, my mind racing. I felt so terrible that I considered swallowing all the antidepressants I had previously taken to kill myself. Then I thought about cheating on him in our bed, where we had endlessly lived the boundaries of our sacred love, with young men to get revenge on him. I thought about stabbing his assistant Ashley and him. My God, what betrayal. But I can't even remember the number of different emotional whirlpools I experienced. What would become of all my feminine pride, 30 years of work? How could he do such a thing? And finally, after 2 glasses of whiskey, I remembered. The prenuptial agreement he mentioned. I remembered signing it 35 years ago, young and in love, without understanding what I was giving up. The agreement was as follows. In the event of a divorce, I would get the marital home. but I would have no claim to his practice or any investments he made during the marriage. What Richard didn't know was that I had spent the last 15 years educating myself about finance, taking online courses, learning about investments. I knew exactly how much his fortune was worth. Approximately $8 million, including his practice, real estate investments, and stock portfolio. And according to the prenuptial agreement, I wouldn't get any of it. I would only get the house, worth maybe $600,000. But I knew something else. Richard had been evading taxes for at least 10 years, hiding his income through shell companies, laundering money, and writing off various personal expenses as business expenses. I had seen the evidence over the years, but trusting my husband, I had never said anything. That trust was gone now. There was nothing that the man I trusted hadn't betrayed: me, my family, my neighborhood, my country. Seeing this, I even considered killing him by putting arsenic in his food, but I had to stay calm and wait for the right moment to take my revenge. I printed out all the emails between Richard and Ashley, then investigated further. I found hotel bills, credit card statements he thought he had hidden, even photos from trips they had taken together. In a photo taken at a medical conference in Miami, Ashley was wearing the diamond necklace she got from Cartier. In another photo from their golf trip alone to Scotland, they were kissing on the beach. The more I investigated, the more things that tormented me poured out like a flood. The rings they wore at the Eiffel Tower in Paris, kissing on the beach in Miami. Oh my God. While I was waiting alone in our bed every night for him to come home, he had already started a new life with another woman. Then, I found something that changed everything. A draft email from Richard, dated the day after the party, which he hadn't sent yet. Dear family and friends, it is with mixed emotions that I announce that Barbara and I are divorcing after 35 years. She has been struggling with mental health issues and addiction problems that have made our marriage unsustainable. During this difficult time, I found love and support in Dr. Ashley Chen. We plan to marry as soon as the divorce is finalized. Mental health issues? Addiction problems? This man was planning to destroy not only our marriage, but also my reputation. I made copies of everything, then found more. So much more. Richard had been slowly moving assets around, putting properties in Ashley's name, setting up accounts I couldn't touch. He'd been planning this for at least a year. But the cruelest discovery was a video on his phone, synced to his computer. It was from our daughter Jennifer's wedding 2 months ago. In it, Richard gave a toast about the sanctity of marriage, about loyalty and faithfulness, while Ashley sat at a table in the background, smirking. He'd brought his mistress to our daughter's wedding. If you're watching this story unfold and feeling that familiar pang of betrayal, or if you've ever wondered how someone finds the strength to fight back against deception, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support through likes and subscriptions helps us share more of these powerful stories of resilience and justice. Every subscriber makes a difference in growing our community of survivors and supporters. I sat in that office for 3 hours, documenting everything. Then I put it all back exactly as I'd found it, and went to make dinner like nothing had happened. Richard came home at 7, kissing my cheek absently while scrolling through his phone, probably texting Ashley. "How was your day, dear?" I asked, serving him his favorite meal, coq au vin that took 3 hours to prepare. "Fine. Busy. 3 surgeries. Ashley assisted on the complex spinal fusion. She's remarkably talented." "I'm sure she is," I said, sitting across from him. "Are you excited about your party?" "You know I hate big productions, Barb, but if it makes you happy." "Makes me happy." I was planning his party while he was planning to humiliate me at it. "I've been thinking," I said casually, "we should update our wills. It's been years." Richard looked up sharply. "Why now?" "We're getting older. The kids are settled. It just seems prudent. After the party, he said. Too much going on right now. Of course, after the party. After he'd announced our divorce. That night, as Richard slept beside me, snoring softly, I lay awake planning. He wanted to destroy me publicly? Fine. But I'd learned something from 35 years of being married to a surgeon. If you're going to cut, you need to know exactly where to make the incision for maximum impact. I started the next morning. First, I hired a forensic accountant through a lawyer friend who specialized in high net worth divorces. Not to file for divorce, not yet, but to trace every hidden asset, every fraudulent transaction, every penny Richard had tried to hide. Your husband has been very busy, the accountant, Marcus Webb, told me a week later. But he's also been very sloppy. The trail is clear once you know where to look. How much has he hidden? About $4 million in various accounts, properties, and investments, some in Ashley Chen's name, some in shell companies. It's textbook asset hiding, and it's illegal. And the tax fraud? Extensive. He's underreported income by approximately $2 million over 10 years. The IRS would be very interested in this. Not yet, I said. I need 3 more weeks. The next 2 weeks were an education in deception. I continued planning Richard's party with enthusiasm that must have seemed genuine because he actually complimented me one morning. You're really going all out for this party, Barb. I appreciate it. You only turn 60 once, I replied, thinking about the surprise I had planned for him. Meanwhile, I was building my case. Marcus Webb, the forensic accountant, had uncovered more than just hidden assets. Richard had been billing insurance companies for procedures he hadn't performed, using Ashley's medical license number to double bill patients, and writing prescriptions for narcotics that were being sold illegally, though he'd been careful to make it look like Ashley was the one responsible if anyone investigated. He's setting her up, Marcus told me during one of our clandestine meetings. If anything goes wrong, she takes the fall. She's 28 years old. She probably has no idea, I said, surprising myself by feeling sorry for the woman who'd been sleeping with my husband. Young and naive. Your husband's type, apparently. That's when I made a decision that would change everything. I reached out to Ashley. I created a fake email account and sent her evidence of what Richard was doing, the fraudulent billing under her name, the narcotic prescriptions that could cost her her medical license, the assets he'd hidden in her name that would make her liable for tax evasion. Her response came within hours. Who is this? What do you want? Someone who knows what it's like to be deceived by Richard Thornton. Check your medical license billing records for the last 6 months. See for yourself. It took her 3 days to respond again. We need to meet. We met at a coffee shop 30 miles from town. Ashley was beautiful in that effortless way young people are, with long black hair and intelligent eyes that were currently red from crying. You're Barbara, she said. It wasn't a question. Yes. He told me you were divorced, that you just lived in the same house for convenience until the paperwork was final. We're not divorced. We're not separated. Last night he made love to me and told me he loved me. Ashley's face crumpled. He's been using my medical license to commit fraud. For at least a year. If it comes out, you'll lose your license, possibly go to prison. He's made sure all the evidence points to you. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm going to destroy him at his birthday party, and I want to give you the chance to save yourself first. What do you mean, destroy him? I told her about the email I'd found, his plan to announce our divorce at the party, to paint me as mentally ill and addicted. Ashley went pale. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. He said you knew about us, that you had your own boyfriend, that it was all very civilized. Report the fraud to the medical board yourself before it's discovered. Say you just found out. Cooperate fully. You might keep your license. What about Richard? Richard is my problem to solve. Ashley was quiet for a moment, then pulled out her phone and showed me text messages from Richard I hadn't seen. In them, he promised to divorce me, marry her, and make her a partner in his practice. But there were also messages about other women, at least 3 other affairs happening simultaneously. I'm not even the only one, she said bitterly. No, you're just the most convenient. Young, vulnerable, dependent on him for your career. I'm an idiot. You're a victim, but you don't have to stay one. We parted with an understanding. Ashley would protect herself legally, and I would handle Richard. But she gave me one more piece of information that proved invaluable. There's a safe in his office at the hospital. The combination is his birthday. Inside are USB drives with all his real financial records. That night, while Richard was in surgery, I visited his hospital office. The safe opened easily, his birth date, just as Ashley had said. Inside were 3 USB drives containing detailed records of every fraud, every hidden asset, every illegal transaction going back 15 years. It was a prosecutor's dream. I made copies and returned everything exactly as I'd found it. The party planning continued. I met with florists, caterers, and the band. I had special video presentations prepared, telling everyone they were tributes to Richard's career. The country club was decorated with photos from our 35 years together, our wedding, our children's births, family vacations, professional achievements. This is spectacular, Mrs. Thornton, the event coordinator said. Dr. Thornton is a lucky man. He's about to find out just how lucky, I replied. 3 days before the party, I met with my lawyer, Patricia Steinberg, and laid out everything. The affairs, the fraud, the hidden assets, the tax evasion, the plan to humiliate me publicly. This is extensive, she said, reviewing the evidence. We could file for divorce now and take him for everything. No, he wants a public spectacle. He's going to get one. Barbara, revenge might feel good in the moment, but this isn't revenge, it's justice. He's been committing crimes for years, destroying people's lives. Ashley isn't his first affair. I found evidence of at least 6 others, including 2 nurses he had fired when they threatened to expose him. Patricia was quiet for a moment. What do you need from me? Be at the party, have divorce papers ready, and make sure the FBI agent you know is there too. The FBI? Barbara, that's necessary. He's been selling narcotics illegally. That's federal. The morning of the party, Richard was in exceptional spirits. He whistled while getting dressed, spent extra time on his hair, and even complimented my dress. You look nice, Barb. That color suits you. I was wearing black, appropriate for a funeral, which, in a way, this was. Thank you, dear. Are you prepared for your speech? Oh, yes, he said, smiling in a way that would have seemed loving if I hadn't known what was coming. I think everyone will remember this birthday for a long time. He had no idea how right he was. The country club looked magnificent. 300 guests had arrived, including Richard's medical colleagues, our friends, family from across the country, and notably Ashley Chen, who stood in a corner looking pale but determined. Richard made the rounds, playing the perfect host, the successful doctor, the devoted family man. I watched him work the room, knowing it was the last time he'd ever command such respect. At 8 o'clock, dinner was served. At 9, the speeches began. Our children spoke lovingly about their father. His colleagues praised his surgical skills. Then it was my turn. Ladies and gentlemen, I began, standing at the podium with perfect composure. I've been married to Richard for 35 years. In that time, I've learned so much about him. Tonight, I'd like to share some of those discoveries with you. Richard was smiling, expecting a loving tribute. First, a video presentation of Richard's life. The lights dimmed, and the screens around the room came to life. But instead of baby photos and wedding pictures, the screen showed Richard's emails to Ashley. The ballroom erupted in gasps as Richard's own words filled the screens. My darling Ashley, only 3 more weeks until my birthday party, and then we can finally stop hiding. Barbara suspects nothing. Richard shot to his feet, his face purple with rage. Turn that off. Barbara, what are you doing? I'm giving you the public spectacle you wanted, darling, I said calmly into the microphone. Please, everyone, keep watching. The emails continued, including the draft where Richard planned to announce our divorce and claim I had mental health and addiction issues. The room was dead silent, except for the sound of Richard's heavy breathing. But wait, I said. There's more. The screen changed to show financial documents, the hidden accounts, the properties in Ashley's name, the shell companies. For those keeping track, that's approximately $4 million my husband has hidden in preparation for divorcing me. The prenup I signed 35 years ago means I would get none of it. Just our house. Barbara, stop this, Richard shouted, moving toward the podium. 2 security guards stepped forward. I'd hired them specially for this moment. I'm not done, Richard. Ladies and gentlemen, my husband hasn't just been unfaithful, he's been criminal. The screen now showed the fraudulent insurance billing, the fake procedures, the narcotic prescriptions being sold illegally, tax evasion, insurance fraud, illegal drug distribution, approximately $2 million in stolen funds over the past decade. Richard's medical colleagues were on their feet, some heading for the exits, others pulling out phones to call lawyers. This is lies! All lies! Richard screamed. Actually, Dr. Thornton, it's all true. Everyone turned to see FBI agent Patricia Santos entering with 4 other agents. Dr. Richard Thornton, you're under arrest for tax evasion, insurance fraud, and illegal distribution of controlled substances. As they moved toward Richard, I continued speaking to the frozen audience. I discovered all of this 3 weeks ago. I could have confronted Richard privately. I could have filed for divorce quietly. But Richard had other plans. He was going to announce our divorce tonight. At this party I'd spent months planning in front of all of you. He was going to humiliate me, claim I was mentally ill and addicted to pills, and walk away with his young mistress. I looked directly at Richard as the FBI agents handcuffed him. So I decided if he wanted a memorable birthday party, I'd give him one. You fucking bitch! Richard screamed as they led him past the podium. You've destroyed everything. No, Richard. You destroyed everything. I just refused to let you blame me for it. As they took him away, I turned back to the audience. I need to address someone else here tonight. Dr. Ashley Chen, would you please come forward? Ashley walked to the podium on shaking legs, looking terrified. Dr. Chen was also a victim of my husband's manipulation. He used her medical license to commit fraud without her knowledge. He was setting her up to take the fall if his crimes were discovered. But Dr. Chen did the right thing. She reported the fraud to the medical board as soon as she discovered it. She's cooperating fully with authorities. Ashley took the microphone with trembling hands. I'm deeply sorry for my involvement with Dr. Thornton. I was told his marriage was over, that divorce papers were already filed. I was lied to, manipulated, and used. I take full responsibility for my poor judgment in having an affair, but I want everyone to know I had no knowledge of his criminal activities. She stepped back, and I concluded my speech. I've been married to Richard Thornton for 35 years. I gave him 3 children, supported his career, managed our home, and loved him completely. In return, he cheated repeatedly, stole millions, committed crimes, and planned to destroy my reputation to avoid paying alimony. I pulled out a document, These are divorce papers. I'm filing on grounds of adultery, fraud, and criminal activity. Thanks to the evidence of his crimes, the prenup is void. I'll be taking everything. The practice, the investments, the hidden assets, all of it. I looked around the room at the shocked faces of our friends and family. I apologize for ruining your evening, but I spent 35 years being the perfect wife, staying silent, keeping Richard's secrets. Tonight, I decided silence was no longer an option. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Richard's medical license was suspended immediately pending investigation. His practice partners voted him out within a week. The country club revoked his membership. The legal proceedings took 18 months. Richard was convicted of tax evasion, insurance fraud, and illegal drug distribution. He was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $3 million in restitution. The divorce was finalized while he was incarcerated. Despite his lawyer's best efforts, I received everything. The house, the practice, which I sold, all investments, and the hidden assets. Total value, approximately $9 million. Ashley Chen kept her medical license but left the state. She sent me a letter thanking me for warning her, saying I'd saved her career and possibly her freedom. She's now practicing in Seattle, specialized in pediatric surgery, far from Richard's influence. My children had mixed reactions. Jennifer, our oldest, was furious at first. Not at me, but at herself, for not seeing what her father was. Michael, our middle child, admitted he'd suspected affairs, but never imagined the criminal activity. David, our youngest, simply said, "I'm proud of you, Mum. You deserved better." Richard wrote me letters from prison, alternating between rage and pleading. I returned them all unopened until they stopped coming. But the most interesting reaction came from the guests at that party. Over the following months, I received dozens of calls and letters from women who'd been in similar situations. Some had suspected affairs, but stayed silent. Others had discovered financial fraud, but were too frightened to act. My very public destruction of Richard had inspired them to take action in their own lives. "You showed me it's never too late to fight back," one woman wrote. "I'm 71 years old and just filed for divorce after finding out about my husband's 30-year affair." I started a support group for women over 50 dealing with spousal betrayal. We meet monthly, sharing stories, resources, and strategies. We call ourselves the Birthday Party Club, a dark joke about the night that changed everything. Richard was released after serving 5 years, early release for good behavior. He reached out once, asking if we could talk. I agreed to meet him at a public restaurant. He looked older, grayer, diminished. Prison had broken something in him that all his arrogance couldn't rebuild. "Why?" he asked simply. "Why so publicly?" "You were going to humiliate me publicly. You were going to destroy my reputation to save money on alimony. You used that poor girl Ashley as a tool. You committed crimes and expected me to stay silent like I always had." "I loved you once," he said quietly. "No, Richard. You loved having me. There's a difference. You loved having a wife who cooked, cleaned, raised your children, and never questioned where you went at night. You loved having someone to blame for your unhappiness while you lived exactly as you pleased. I lost everything. You threw everything away. I just made sure everyone saw you do it." He left, without ordering, and I never saw him again. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he moved to Florida, works at a small clinic, and lives alone in a 1-bedroom apartment. As for me, I'm 65 now, 3 years past that horrible, wonderful birthday party. I travel, spend time with my grandchildren, and run a foundation helping women escape financial abuse. I've dated a few times, but haven't remarried. Trust, once broken that completely, is hard to rebuild. Sometimes I wonder if I should have handled it differently, more privately, more mercifully. But then I remember that email draft where Richard planned to destroy me publicly, claim I was mentally ill, paint himself as the long-suffering husband finally free. He wanted a memorable birthday party. He wanted 300 people to witness a major announcement. He wanted drama and spectacle, and a clear narrative of him as the hero walking away from a broken marriage. He got exactly what he wanted, just not the way he planned. My name is Barbara Thornton. I spent 35 years married to a man who was planning to destroy me at his own birthday party. Instead, I destroyed him first, publicly and completely. Some call it revenge. I call it self-defense. The truth is, when someone plans to humiliate you in front of everyone you know, when they've been stealing and lying and cheating for years, when they're prepared to destroy your reputation to save money, sometimes the only response is to burn it all down and let everyone see who lit the match. Richard lit the match. I just made sure everyone saw him holding it when the fire started.